First of all, welcome everybody. It's great to see you. Good to see you guys. And I want to share with you a little bit about the company first, real quickly. I don't know if I can share any more stories. It looked like you shared all the stories with them. But I do want to share with you how the company began, a little bit about my own personal testimony so that you can kind of get an idea of how really this came into existence. But most importantly tonight, I want to share with you what we do and then what we don't do. So that'll give you a glimpse to see if this is something that's right for you and your family. This picture right here was taken in March the 20th of 2011. March the 20th, 2011. I'm almost 300 pounds. I'm on 5 medications, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And my wife and I, I'm in my 40s. My wife and I have 6 children. I'm in the backyard with my 2 oldest sons. And I'm throwing a football with them. And I go back to throw a football. And when I go back to throw a football, my chest closes up. Left side of my body goes numb. My knees hit the ground. And I realized, now, those of you that don't know my background is in exercise science, physiology, chemistry, anatomy, biology. I mean, I've taught high school and coached at the high school and college level for 22 years. So I know the body backwards and forwards. However, you don't have to tell me in this moment I'm in trouble. And I know I'm in trouble. And the thought that crossed my mind was, as I looked across that field at my 2 oldest boys at the time, is that this is the last image that they're going to see of their dad probably. I make it inside, my wife chases me down, and I'm sitting on the couch and she's got the phone in one hand. She said, do I call the ambulance? Do I put you in the car? What's happening? I said, I can't breathe. And this is what she told me. She said, you're going to die, and you're going to leave me here with 6 kids. She said, some other man's going to walk your daughters down the aisle. At that time, I had 3 little girls. I still have 3 little girls. And I had 3 boys too. And so I knew she was right. She didn't say it to be mean. I mean, anybody that knows my wife, her heart's big as Texas. I mean, she loves, but she was desperate, and so was I. And started the journey. That night started the journey. That day really started the journey to what would ultimately lead me to LT360. So let me just share with you what happened at that point. This is actually that night. This is March the 20th, 2011. I'm on the edge of my couch. I take out my little flip phone at that time. Now I took this selfie before selfies were popular, so if anybody in here, I was one of the first ones. And so I took that selfie, and this is what I said out loud in March the 20th of 2011. I said, God, if this picture can help someone change their life, let it start with me first. Show me something I haven't done. Give me something new. Give me an idea. Show me what I need to do, and I'll do it. It didn't matter at that point. I was desperate. I didn't care what it was. But I knew in order for me, and by the way, here's what you don't know. What you don't know is that that picture represents 15 years of failure. 15 years of losing 75 pounds and gaining 85 back. 15 years of trying every weight loss gimmick and every weight loss program and every pill and powder and potion and lotion I could find. 15 years of Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem and Atkins and juicing and P90X and CrossFit and muscle confusion and interval training and Beachbody and Body for Life. I mean, I can name them all. I may be the only one that's in there that's ever tried any of those. But I tried, I lost weight, but I never got healthy in the process. And by the way, I never took care of the core root of why I got unhealthy to begin with. And so for me, it was very simple. It was a very simple process. Number one, I knew I wanted to live. I knew I wanted to be around for my children. I knew I didn't want to just struggle and suffer through life like I was with all the medications that I was on. And by the way, my doctor told me I'd be on 2 for life. This is a personal friend of mine who I know loves my family and who I know cares. But he told me with his own words, Coach, you're going to be on 2 of these for life. And in 8 weeks, I got off all my medication. 8 weeks. So let me share with you how I designed the program, what we really do, and then you fire away with any questions. If you guys are ready to go tonight, if you're something you think you might want to do for you and your family, then let's do it. If this is not right for you, then go. Again, this is why we do this. We want you to have an opportunity to ask as many questions because we want this to be right for you too. This is not like, I can assure you of a couple things. Number one, I hope I'm not going to be boring. And then number 2, this is not like buying a timeshare. This is your deal. I can assure you when I get done tonight, I'm done. And then I want to put it right back in your court and say, now it's got to be your decision. And I will say this too. You do not have to be healthy to get committed. But you do have to be committed to stay healthy. when I designed the program, there were 4 things that had to happen for me. I knew it had to happen for me. So hopefully this will resonate with some of you guys as you're going through and you're thinking through this and you're unpacking this for yourself. Number 1, I could not do another program that was going to starve me. Just couldn't do it anymore. I've already done those. I wasn't interested in doing another program that was going to deprive me and depress me and starve me. Again, I just wasn't going to do that anymore. I wasn't going to pay somebody to tell me to be on 500 calories a day and stick a B12 needle in my behind with an appetite suppressant in it. That just wasn't going to happen anymore. Number 2, I wasn't going to do another program that caused me to have low energy every day and go through. I've been through plenty of those where I just struggled through day in, day out. I barely made it. Number 3, I knew I couldn't do another program, and at 300 pounds and 5 medications, I knew I couldn't do a program that caused me to have extreme physical activity. Just couldn't do that anymore. I've trained a lot of athletes, coached a lot of athletes. I mean, I know the body, but I knew that I couldn't physically put my body through that because I couldn't take it anymore. All right, and then finally, number 4, I knew, and again, and this is bigger for people in the South. We've got a lot of clients across the country now. I didn't see that happening either years ago. But it's big in the South, and for me, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do a program that took away all my favorite food groups. I know that in the South particularly, everything just kind of, you live around food, and your church groups are around food, your reunions are around food, birthday parties, New Year's Eves, Christmas, everything's around food. So I knew I had to find a way to maneuver through all of that and still end up with the results that I wanted, and that was I wanted to get healthy. Okay? So let me share with you how we do what we do. It's a 5-step principle. It's a 5-step approach that we do. We call it our health triangle. And basically what our health triangle simply puts is, or simply put is, you need to lose visceral fat content in your body as either food or fuel. At the same time, you gain lean muscle in your body. At the same time, you gain healthy hydration. Those are the 3 things that we really focus in on, but there's a process of how you get there. Okay, it's a very simple process, but it is a mechanical process, a scientific process of how that happens in a person's body. The first process is you got to understand about nutrition. If you don't understand about nutrition, you're going to miss the boat on this. Because again, if all you're interested in, I think Brent mentioned it here, is losing weight. Because we're really not a weight loss company. Now again, you see all those hundreds and thousands of videos on our website of all these people getting healthy. The first thing they mention is how much fat they've lost and how much hydration they gained, how much lean muscle well, that's a byproduct. That's just really a side effect of getting healthy. But the first thing is you have to understand is there is a nutritional profile for every person on planet Earth. Number 1 is that everybody requires a certain amount of nutrients for metabolism, for growth, for immune system function, for hormone balancing. You get the right food groups put in your body, you get the right ranges put in your body, and your body can respond properly, and it can perform optimally at that level like it used to when we were younger. We didn't really have to deal with that. Most people, young people, don't have to deal with this. But as we age, things happen, things begin to slow down, things begin to break down sometimes, and then there's a way that your body actually heals and repairs itself that you can really reverse this and really get it going in the right direction again over a period of time. So number 1 is nutrition. You got to find your right nutritional balance for your body type, for your physique rating, and for your BMR. Okay, and I'll talk to you about those numbers here in just a second. Number 2, and this is very important to understand, you have to understand that you have to get your digestion and your detoxification right. So in other words, you've got major filters in your body, pathways we call them, major filters or your detoxification pathways. As we age and those stop functioning properly, most people struggle through life and they're realizing what the older I get, the more weight I'm gaining, the harder it is to get up, the harder it is to have energy throughout the day. I'm eating right, I'm trying to exercise, what's happening? Why is this going, why can't I stop this train? Well, primarily for most people, it's a detoxification issue. It's your body can't filter out all the junk and all the things that's coming against us that attacks us from environmental stressors, to food groupings, to foreign mimickers, to free radicals, microorganisms, bacteria, fungus, foreign mimickers, yeast, metals. I mean, there's all kind of things that attacks our body. So we have to be able to really filter out those things that are coming against us. And by the way, most of those things are what's causing chronic illness and disease in our bodies. And our filters, by the way, God has created an incredible waste removal system in our body, but if it doesn't perform properly, then it's not going to act like it's supposed to act. Does that make sense? So number 2 is you got to get your digestion and your detoxification pathways cleared. You say, well, how long does that take? I don't know. I don't know. For some people, it's very quickly. For other people, it takes 40 to 60 days, till they really start feeling that effect of that. So again, this is a process. If you think you can take some kind of harsh chemical and just blow your gut flora out, FLORA, yeah, you can do that overnight. That'll happen overnight. You'll be in the bathroom for a little bit at the time, but that's going to happen. That can happen, but it's not going to take care of your major pathways. Any nutritionist worth their salt, any physiologist, any medical doctor worth their salt, if somebody came to one of our conferences and said, we've got this magic pill that you can take and you can flush your and clean out a major pathway in your body in 24 hours, and they're selling them all over the internet by the millions, by the way. This will clean out your major pathway in 24 hours. Do you know what would happen? They would be laughed out of the room. Because if you think about it, yes, you can clean your gut out. You can clean your stomach out in a very short period of time with some harsh chemicals, and you can flush that out, but you're not going to touch your major pathways. That's going to take, if you say 24 to 48 days, I can live with that one. But doing it the right way with real nutrition, not some kind of phony products, okay? So over a period of time, 40 to 60 days, most people feel that full effect of getting that cleaned out and getting their bodies really, really functioning properly again. And then the third thing, and this is one of the ways one of the areas that we really excel in, and we call it our cellular education process. Because I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, I know how to communicate, I know how to, inspire people and motivate people. I know how to plant seeds of destiny in people, and when I can, I pull seeds of greatness out. But that's a process too. But most importantly for me, and the greatest gift that I have, I think, over this, now that I've looked back with over 1,600 clients in this area now, the greatest thing that I've given them is I've given them the power to become their own health and wellness expert. It's not just about a self-help and just turn you loose. We want to get you healthy for two reasons. I mean, we have two goals as it relates to getting you healthy. Number one, I want to get you healthy as quickly as possible, because I don't know who's in this room's on the shot clock. I have no idea. I just know that dude right there dodged a bullet. And I know for most men, when that happens to them, they don't get a chance to tell the story the second time. That's when they exit planet Earth. So for me, I'm very passionate about helping people not only get healthy, but also realizing who they are, becoming all they were created to be, living life to the full and not just surviving, but thriving. So number one, I want to get you healthy as quickly as possible. But number two, and most importantly for me as a gift, I want to make you your own health and wellness expert. Well, the only way that's going to happen is if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to be coached, and you're willing to invest in yourself. Simple as that. There's nothing else I can tell you outside of that. There's a lot of self-help books. There's a lot of self-help programs on the internet. If those worked, if it was easy as that, everybody would do it. But guess what? That's just not true. People need coaches. People need teachers. People need mentors. People need to be educated so that you don't put the life of your life in somebody else's hands. You take responsibility for your own life. You take greater control of your health and wellness for your family. You don't rely on somebody else. You take advantage of what you know because you know it works. Does that make sense? So the number three thing is we got to get you educated. Okay. Number four is that we want to make sure that you understand exercise and supplements. We don't sell supplements, by the way. We do recommend a few. There are some good supplements on the market, but let me just share this with you. There's about 90%, 95% you're wasting your money. They have very little bioavailability, very little cellular absorption rate, and if you don't know the difference, you can spend a lot of money buying false hope. And a lot of people do, unfortunately. And I think it's criminal what some of these nutraceutical companies are doing right now with advertising this, where there's not a shred of accountability for them. They can tell you that this product will do anything, it'll do miracles, and they don't have a shred of accountability to prove it that it works. That makes sense? So we want to make sure that you know what really works, the nutraceuticals that you really might need. And that's based on how the body heals, number one, the nutrients that your body needs, number two, and number three, you may have a nutrition deficiency. You might really need a certain nutrient that your body can't get from whole foods or your food supply. So those are things that we'll teach you and walk you through at some level. But the other side of that is exercise. And we have two types of clients that come to us normally. Okay? Now, I guess you can guess which one you are. Again, I'm not going to say which one you are. I'm just saying, here's our two clients that come to us. We have clients that come to us that think they got to tie a rope around their waist and drag a 50-pound kettlebell across the parking lot, BA's Field, and flip tires over all day long. That's how they're going to get healthy. Coach, I'm ready. Coach me up, ready to go. Well, listen, I'm not tying a rope around my waist and dragging a 50-pound kettlebell across parcel. I'm getting closer to 50 now, and I probably could do that for a minute, but I couldn't do it for long. And I would probably end up hurting myself in the process. Does that make sense? However, again, we got some elite level athletes on our program too. We got some professional athletes, and we got some disabled veterans. We got some people that are elite performers and high endurance athletes, and we got some people that are in wheelchairs. So we can teach you wherever and take you wherever you're at. But there's another side to this. Some people on our program that come to us, they really believe that you can take a magic pill and lay on a couch and get healthy. They really believe that. And that's not true either. You do have to move your body around some. You don't have to kill yourself and hate the process, but you do have to move your body around each day. And let me teach you something. Let me teach you a principle that I know. There is a reason why I teach you to move your body around a little bit each day. And it has nothing to do with looking like a Roman soldier or a runway model. It has everything to do to boost your immune system and your lymphatic production. Let me just share a word picture with you, and you'll all identify with this. Every one of us in this room have had aging parents and grandparents. Is that true? What happens to them when they can't move anymore? What happens to them when they stop moving and they become immobile? When they go into a wheelchair or they go into a nursing home and they don't get an exercise, they don't get their body movement each day? What's the next coming event on the calendar? It's not long, is it? It doesn't take very long after that because the body can't fight it off. Can't fight the infection and the disease and all the things that's coming against us from a cellular level. Just can't fight it off anymore. And when that happens, it's usually not very long before we have a celebration for their life. And so I'm very passionate about teaching that the right way, but I also want to encourage you to understand that there's some truths and then there's some fiction. And the fiction part is what's hurting people. The truth, again, sometimes it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But it is the truth, okay? And the fifth and final component that we use to really get people to their goals and their goal line and get them healthy is our coaching component. Now, we've developed a proprietary coaching system that we put in place. And I'll break this down for you in 3 areas. The first one is that I want, again, as part of the education, I'm in your phone or your email every day. I'm teaching you every day. I'm touching you. I'm challenging your mind. I'm touching your heart. There's some emails that I send out and lessons that I send out that some of my clients fire back and they're not happy with me. They're not. But eventually they see why I told them what I told them. Eventually they sometimes, I tell people this all the time. You got to stop looking in the window and you got to start looking in the mirror. If you're ever going to be all that you were created to be, you have to stop looking through the window and you got to start looking in the mirror. Because the buck stops with you. This is your life. This is your health. Nobody else can live this for you. And people say all the time, Coach, I'm glad that you coached me that way. I didn't like it in the beginning, but I really am glad. I really appreciate you really allowing me to stop and really evaluate who I am and what I am. And so the first thing is I'm going to be coaching you every day through an email process and through a lesson plan each day. The second way I'm going to coach you, and the way we coach you as a team, is that every 20 days or so, we want to see you back here. If at all possible, we want to see you back here face to face. Because that's really the only way we can measure you on our bioscans. We put you on a bioscan each time we see you. We measure all your components. We want to make sure we create what's called a cellular health index. And that measures all your major components in your body. Again, I don't care what your scale weight is. We've got clients on our program right now that are pushing 600 pounds. And if they don't lose 200 pounds or more, they're going to die. And I told them that out of compassion. I didn't coach them hard. I just told them, I said, this is it for you. Your body's already shutting down. You can tell this, and they know it's true. On the other hand, we've got clients on our program, they don't need to lose 1 pound. They just need to flip their ratios. They just need to get healthy. So you can also be what's called skinny fat. You ever heard of the term skinny fat? My wife would be what we would deem as skinny fat. Now she's told me this before. I could say that. because again, I don't want to swallow any teeth when I get home tonight. But she's given me permission to say that that was her at one point. Because when we went through the program together, back in 2011, when I kind of started coming up with some of these strategies and trying to put some things in order for me, and by the way, I tell people this all the time, this program was never designed for you. Never was. It never started out as a business in mind or there's some kind of thing I could make a living. This program started for one reason and one reason only, to save my life. To save my life. But my wife, interestingly enough, said, I'm going through the program with you. And I said, honey, you don't need to go through the program. You're thin, you're fit, you look great. And this is what she told me. She said, no, I'm going to do it for two reasons. Number one, I'm in my 40s too. I have 6 kids too. She said, I don't feel good. I don't sleep well. I don't wake up rested. I got knees and I got back pain and I got joint pain. And she said, but number two, I'm going to make sure you don't quit on yourself because I want you around. And so we went through the program, and really, she probably has more to do with this program than I did in terms of you being here today. Because what happened was, it was easy for me to just realize that I was an obese, middle-aged man on a lot of medications. It was easy for me to get healthy, I thought, in terms, because I knew I was going to have to lose a lot of weight. But for her, it opened my eyes up to something that I never thought about before. Because again, she was skinny already. She was thin. But all of her ratios were out of order. And she flipped her muscle around. She flipped her hydration around. She flipped her body fat. She actually lost 22 pounds of fat in her body. I didn't think she had 22 pounds of fat in her whole body to begin with. But I realized, well, maybe if this helps us, maybe it can help other people too. And so, obviously, when you go from that picture right there to what you see today, and of course, I didn't get this way overnight, by the way. This wasn't like I just woke up one morning and all of a sudden my body had changed. I'm over 5 years into this now. But our friends and family, what's the first thing they started asking? What are you doing? How'd you do this? What are you doing? Why is Gwen, look, every time I see her, she looks like she acts like she's been drinking jet fuel. She's got so much energy. I mean, those of you who know my wife know that's true. But anyway, so we started just coaching our friends and family. We just started picking people. And then finally, my wife said, I didn't remember. You got to remember my background. 22 years at the high school and college level, I was a coach. I was a teacher. Taught health and human performance, exercise science, physiology, physical education. So I get it. I mean, I got the body. I was coaching people all the time. So I started coaching people, and people started changing their lives, and people started getting healthy. I saw family members that I loved and cared about dearly who were type 2 diabetics coming off their insulin. I saw people that I know that was sick and that had chronic illness and fatigue in their body and inflammation. I started seeing them come off their medications and get out of hospitals and getting better. And I said, I think this is going to work for a lot of different people. And so that's what I told my wife. She said, well, are you going to do it? Are you going to coach them? You're going to coach people? I said, yeah. I said, I got 3 more years to teach. Because at that point, I was in the teaching program, and I had 3 years to retire. I was in it 22 years. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to wait for 3 more years, and then I'm going to start coaching people, and I can just start my own career, have my little pension, have my insurance taken care of. And this is what she told me. She said, why are you going to wait 3 years? I said, honey, all I've got is 3 years left to retire. She said, how many people do you think you can help in 3 years? How many men do you think you could save in 3 years? I said, are you telling me you want me to quit my teaching job and walk away from my pension and do this full time? She said, no. I'm just asking you to ask yourself, where is your heart? Where is your passion? And how many people can you help with what you're doing now compared to how many people you could help if people knew that you were in this space to help them? And so, again, it was an incredible decision for me to make at that point, but it was an easy decision for me to make. And my friends thought I was crazy. My colleagues thought I was crazy. It's not like I can go back to teaching and jump back into the pension plan because it doesn't even exist anymore. So now I realized, all right, I got to go. But one of the things I knew, that in order for anybody to be successful, I knew that you have to have accountability, number one, and you have to have safety nets under people, number two. I coached for too long. I've coached too many teams. I know exactly how this works. And so as I developed the program, one of the things that I really put in the program in the beginning was you have to come see me. If you want to go through the program, you got to come see me. You can't just, well, this ain't going to be something where we just, self-help and I'll see you next year. You've got to come see me every 20 days so that I can measure you, so we can monitor you, so that we can make sure that we're coaching you and making any strategy adjustments that we make. Because guess what? Everybody doesn't just cruise through to the goal line. And it's unfortunate because when you see our website, it just looks like it's a highlight tape. And it is for many people. But there are a group of people that have to have it's peaks and valleys. And everybody's going to be there at some point. And so you need somebody to walk the trail with you. So every 20 days we want to see you. We want to come in. Again, if it's not every 20, it's definitely every 30. But again, that's something that you got to take advantage of if you're going to use our program. You can really, really, really grow in that area, and we can coach you better because we're not going to know what you need unless we see you. Number 3, and this is the final way that we coach you. We create a two-way street with all of our clients immediately. This is where we outrun everybody. We create a two-way street with our text, our email, our phone numbers. You have all of our information. When I say you're with us, you're talking to us. You're not talking to some graduate student that's an exercise science kid at 22 years old that's 3,000 miles away in a cubicle. You're talking to our team here. This is our team. We've got 8 coaches here, and we've got 2 coaches in Baltimore who they just started we just opened a satellite branch in Baltimore. A doctor and his wife just went through our program and said, you know what? I'm tired of writing thousands of scripts every year. I want to get people healthy. Can I open up an LT 360? I said, yeah, sure. Come on, let's go. So, but other than that, this is where our team is. This is where our people are. This is where your coaches are. Okay? Let me just qualify that one statement, though. When I say we're with you and you have access to us anytime you need us, within reason. All right? And let me share this with you. This is a story that I just always share. About 6 months ago, we had one of our sweet, sweet clients. I'm being videotaped today, so I want to make sure I don't disclose anything I'm not supposed to disclose. But let's just call her Miss Ann. And Miss Ann, she's in her 80s. Okay, her daughter went through our program. Her granddaughter went through our program. She comes in and signs up and goes through our program. And I get a text message. I think she just learned how to text. I get a text message at 2:09 a.m. wanting to know the difference between agave nectar and maple syrup. Yes, I understand. And I look at my text message, I look at my phone the next morning, and I said, this can't be right. I see the timestamp on there is 2:09. So I call Miss Ann up, and I said, Miss Ann, this is Coach Scott. Oh yeah, Coach, how you doing? I said, well, I got your text message, but my timestamp said that it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, a little after 2 o'clock in the morning. And she said, yeah. She said, Coach, she said, I just wanted to know what kind of sweeteners I should use, and I was at Kroger, so I wanted to make sure I was getting the right kind. Now, I told her what she should get. But interestingly enough, I said, Miss Ann, I said, you don't need to be out in Kroger by yourself at 2 o'clock in the morning. And she told me, I won't say exactly how she said it, but basically she's lived a lot longer than I have, and she can protect herself just like anybody else can, and all this kind of. So I said, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And I did tell her what to use. So, but I only say that to say that we will get back to you at a reasonable time. We usually have a 24-hour rule with anybody that has a question, and it's usually 24 minutes. We're usually right on our clients right away. But at some point, I've told all our coaches, at some point when you go home, you unplug. We got little sundown calls. You be present with your family. You be involved with your family, because you're never going to be all that you're created to be with your clients if you can't be all you're created to be with your family first. And so we've really, really focused in on that. So we have email and text, and we have an online community that's a private group, and they're firing off at all times during the day and night. So it's great, great accountability and information. So that's the 3 ways that we're going to coach you. And then the final way is that at some point, and I talked about ratios a lot, and that's because we put you on a bioscan and measure all your numbers, your visceral fat content, your body fat content. basal metabolic rate, metabolic age, bone density. It's a little more important for women than it is for men. Muscle mass ratio, intra-extracellular hydration, physique rating. There's a few other numbers that we look at just because we want to monitor what your ratios are doing. It's different for everybody. But again, your scale weight is the last number we care about. Last number. But at some point, once all your ratios do line up, then you're going to go into what's called maintenance phase. And we'll just pass the baton to you at that point. We'll just pass the baton to you. And we really, at that point, by the time you get to maintenance phase, you're really not going to need me like most clients need me in the beginning. You're going to have it. You're going to understand it. You're going to know your body. You're going to be in tune with your body. And then you'll be able to make some decisions at that point. Now, we may be able to take you some different levels, but at that point, you'll be an expert. You'll be an expert at how to get yourself healthy and keep yourself healthy, which is the most important part. Okay? That's an outlook. That's an overview, a 20,000-foot view of our program, kind of from looking down. I want to pause just because I want to give you guys a chance to ask any questions and see if there's anything I can educate you or teach you on tonight. And then if you're ready to get going with us, we want to get you started tonight and get you trained up.